Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here. In today's video, we'll be covering another Nintendo Switch sale and 10 more great Switch deals worth buying, so let's get into it. The first game is Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars. Now this is a unique turn-based RPG that feels like a hybrid of a tabletop RPG meets visual novel, and on top of that, the entire world is made of cards. And so you'll play as a ragtag bunch of heroes that goes on a quest to slay a dragon that's terrorizing the land in hopes of earning great treasure and fortune and fame. And I think one of the really cool aspects of this game is that, again, it is completely made of cards. So not only are the heroes like on cards, but also the entire world map is cards, dungeons are cards, the different villages are cards. So as you explore the world, you'll be moving your little game piece marker around and revealing what's underneath. So it might be hidden characters, treasure chests, encounters with monsters, and much more. And so it's really fun because you don't really know what's coming as you explore the world. And so it's really fun to find what's underneath as you progress through the game. Another neat element is that the story is completely narrated by a narrator, and it almost feels like a dungeon master leading a campaign in Dungeons and Dragons. So it does have that visual novel element to it as well. Combat is really fun in this game as well, and your heroes will have very limited HP, so you really need to be strategic throughout each battle if you hope to survive. And I think if you like turn-based RPGs or tabletop RPGs, I think you'll really like this game, and I would definitely recommend it. The next game is Dragon Quest Infinity Strash: The Adventures of Dai. Now this is an action RPG set in the Dragon Quest universe that follows the story of the anime The Adventure of Dai. And so the story mode isn't too extensively long in this game, but it does follow the adventures of the anime. But there is an additional mode that throws in some roguelike elements to it that's a little bit more challenging, and I think that's really where the meat of the game comes into play. And so this mode is called the Temple of Recollection, and so it is more of that roguelike experience where you'll start off on level 1 and need to clear many different dungeons in a row. And after each battle of arena combat, you'll actually be able to choose various power-ups that can improve your team's abilities, and then you'll take on the next challenge one after another. And so I think this is where a lot of the replayability comes into the game, because the main storyline isn't incredibly long, but there's all kinds of unlockables in this mode, and where a lot of the addicting gameplay comes into play. Combat is definitely fun and challenging, and there's many different ways that you can level up and build out your characters throughout the game, really fitting to whatever unique playstyle you want to build your team out as. You'll be able to quickly switch between characters on the fly, or you can simply just focus on one and let AI control the rest of the heroes on your team. It's definitely not as robust as, say, a mainline Dragon Quest game, but again, I think if you like action RPGs, if you enjoy roguelike dungeon crawlers, this game is definitely worth picking up at its discounted price. And so if you like RPGs and Dragon Quest, I'd recommend this one as well. The next game is the Saga of the Moon Priestess. Now this game is a retro-inspired action-adventure game similar to the early Game Boy titles from the Legend of Zelda series. And you'll play as a young hero, Sarissa, as she goes on a quest to rescue a kidnapped prince. And so the game features top-down dungeon crawling gameplay with lots of adventure and exploration. And so you'll be exploring the world, diving into dungeons, taking on challenging puzzles and enemies, and collecting different items and gear to help you get past these dungeon and boss encounters. And so there's a variety of items that you'll find, again, very similar to a Legend of Zelda title, and these can help you get past challenges, unlock secrets, and aid you in your quest to rescue the kidnapped prince. It is more of an 8-bit style game and has visuals, as I mentioned, similar to a Game Boy title, so it's maybe not as robust as some action-adventure games, but it does have that retro Legend of Zelda-like feel, and I think if you're looking for a new adventure game similar to that playstyle, I would definitely recommend checking it out. The next game is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. And this game is a fast-paced action RPG that's a remaster of the original title that came out on the PSP. And this game acts as a prequel to Final Fantasy VII and follows the events leading up to that game. And you'll play as Zack Fair, a first-class soldier, and learn how his backstory really intertwines with Cloud and Sephiroth and the other key members of Final Fantasy VII. Now, the gameplay of this game is where this game really shines, and it's incredibly addicting. It is arena-based action combat, and it also has an incredibly robust and addictive materia fusion system. And so you'll be able to find all kinds of materia throughout the game, level them up, but also fuse different materias together to form new kinds of materia. And this can allow you to access new abilities, new magic spells, and also power up the overall stats of your character. Now, on top of that, there's an extensive mission mode alongside of the main storyline. So there's all kinds of mini little missions that you can take on with unique challenges and boss fights. And these missions can allow you to power up your character, find new equipment, as well as access to unique materia, and even unique special challenging bosses hidden within these missions. So there's definitely a lot of content that you can sink your teeth into. And there's a new game plus, so after you beat the game for the first time, you can carry over most of your equipment and items and materia, allowing you to challenge the game yet again. It has a great story, incredibly addictive gameplay. It's one of my favorite action RPGs, and I would definitely recommend it. The next game is the Lara Croft collection. Now, this game actually includes 2 Tomb Raider games, Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light, and Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. And both of these adventures really adapt the action-adventure gameplay style and turn it into a twin-stick shooter dungeon crawler. They also take that and add in some unique puzzle elements that have that Tomb Raider feel to it. And so you'll be diving into ancient ruins, mythical dungeons, and exploring ancient temples as Lara Croft. These games also include a local co-op option, which is really cool. And so they do have this fast-paced twin-stick shooter action, but again, there's also some puzzle elements mixed in there to change up the pace and still give it that Tomb Raider-like feel. As you play through the levels, there's also all kinds of different little challenges and secrets hidden within that you can use to unlock new abilities and power-ups for your character. There's all kinds of varieties of different weapon types that you'll find, and there's challenging bosses thrown in the mix throughout the levels as well. I think if you like Tomb Raider and enjoy twin-stick shooters, then you'll like this game as well, and I would definitely recommend it. The next game is Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, the Definitive Edition. And so this is a unique strategy RPG mixed with a puzzle game, and you'll play as a band of heroes trying to fight off demons across the land that are causing chaos and causing different warring factions that were at peace to re-engage in combat, and you'll need to go on a quest to stop them, to restore peace throughout the region. And so combat is quite unique, and this is really where the puzzle elements come into play as well, where you'll have a grid of heroes that you can place out around the board, and your goal is really to break through enemy lines and defend your enemy lines to prevent enemies from crossing them and to create opportunities for your heroes to make it across enemy lines to deal damage to kind of their ultimate hero or champion. And so you'll need to strategically place your units around the board, and they all have unique play styles and abilities. And again, you'll need to both defend yourself from incoming waves of enemies, but also break through the enemy waves if you hope to survive. And so it does get pretty strategic, and that's really where the fun of it comes into play. There's also different champion units that you'll find, additional little challenges that are thrown into combat, keeping things fresh as well. There's some RPG elements where you can level up your characters and make them more powerful. I think it has pretty fun and addictive gameplay, and so if you like puzzle-based games and RPGs, I'd recommend checking this one out as well. The next game is Star Ocean Second Story R. And this is an arena combat-focused action RPG that is a remake of a retro classic. And you'll play as 2 heroes as they try and stop an alien globe that has crash landed on the planet. and is causing monsters to terrorize the world and threatens to destroy the world. And so you'll go on a big adventure to stop that from happening. And it has an anime art style and a fun, quirky story. And the combat is quite similar to an arena combat battle, similar to the Tales series. Now, since this is a remake of the original classic, there are all kinds of quality of life enhancements, which is great. And it has the option of basically 2 different storylines. It pretty much has the same overarching story, but it's told from 2 different perspectives. So depending on which starting hero you choose, that can alter the little experiences that you have along the way. And so that kind of adds to the replay value of the game. On top of that, there's multiple playable characters that you can unlock as you build out your party throughout the game, but there's also a limited capacity for characters through each run of the game as well. And so you'll really need to mix and match your ideal team and forgo collecting different characters as there's only limited space available. This again adds to the replay value and unique strategy elements of the game as you build out your team as you progress. It has really fun combat and a cool story, and again, all kinds of replay value. So I think if you like classic action RPGs, I'd recommend this game as well. The next game is Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince. And this is a spin-off entry to the Dragon Quest series with an addictive Pokemon-like feel. And the story really centers around a quest of revenge as you'll play as a half-human, half-monster that goes on a quest of revenge against his evil demon father that abandoned him. And you'll act as a monster wrangler, and you'll travel the world collecting monsters and training them in hopes of building a team that can defeat your father. And so combat throughout the game is turn-based, and you'll control 4 different monsters, but also be able to have 4 other monsters hidden in reserve. And when your first monsters die, those new ones will come in and replace them throughout battle. So it's pretty strategic of how you build your teams. And combat can be either administered manually or through AI, computer controlled. And so this gives you several options of how you want to approach battles and can maybe streamline some of the grindiness of leveling up all of these different monsters throughout the game. There's also tons of monsters to play through. There's over 500 different monsters you can find and collect throughout the game. So you'll definitely spend some time doing that. You can either catch them or acquire them outright and have them join your team, or you can fuse different monsters together in order to find all of the different monster types throughout the game. Gameplay is incredibly addictive, and I think if you like monster training, Pokemon style games, and you enjoy the Dragon Quest universe, you'll definitely like this game as well, and I recommend it. The next game is SteamWorld Dig. Now this is a unique steampunk themed Metroidvania adventure, and it takes place in a futuristic world ruled by steampunk robots where humanity is long gone and has now become mythical creatures. And so you'll play as a robot in this world centered around almost a Wild West theme, where you'll need to dig your way into the mines in search of treasure and fortune. And so it has almost a classic Dig Dug arcade-like feel, where you'll be digging into the mines on all kinds of branching pathways, searching for treasure. It does have some puzzle elements mixed into it as well, and as you gather these treasure and resources, you'll need to head back up to town and purchase new equipment for your character, which can help you get past other challenges or dig deeper into the mines. There's also some different abilities you'll acquire along the way, and this is kind of where the Metroidvania elements come into play, as you'll need some of these powered up abilities to access new areas and get past different challenges. I think the arcadey Dig Dug feel mixed with these RPG and Metroidvania elements really make it addictive. It's not a super long game, but I think it's definitely worth the money. And so if you like that arcadey style gameplay mixed with Metroidvania elements, I would definitely recommend this game as well. The final game is RollerCoaster Tycoon Classic. Now this is a new bundle featuring 2 classic RollerCoaster Tycoon games that are theme park simulators centered around roller coasters and building out a theme park. And so the premise of the game is that there's all kinds of different challenges that you need to overcome. Some of them are building a theme park from scratch and making it profitable and earning a certain amount of money. Others are kind of rebuilding a down and out park. And then there's, again, other different challenges thrown in the mix as well. And so it is kind of a combo of theme park builder meets real-time strategy game, where guests will be coming into your theme park and you'll need to do different things like keeping the theme park clean, keeping guests happy, creating rides that generate a lot of money, and much more. And so it's really fun and addictive. And it's definitely cool to be able to create your own custom roller coasters and all kinds of other neat rides found throughout your park. So there's water rides, roller coasters, merry-go-rounds, and much more. And so you'll need to build these ultimate theme parks and epic roller coasters if you hope to complete these different challenges. There's dozens of challenges and different modes throughout the game. I sunk so many hours into these games as a kid, and so if you've never played RollerCoaster Tycoon before, I would highly recommend checking out this classic package as well. But again, that wraps up today's video of 10 more great Switch deals worth buying in this latest Nintendo Switch eShop sale. But let me know in the comments below, have you played any of these games before? Are you going to pick any of these up now that you know that they're on sale? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button, as it really helps out the channel. And another really cool way you can help support the channel is we actually partnered with a company, Geek Crate, that puts together various bundles. So whether you like things like Harry Potter, Pokemon, Naruto, Marvel, and more, they've got different bundles for everything. They have a subscription service you can take advantage of, or buy just one-time bundle packs of various items. And so if you did want to check that out and help support the channel, head to nerdproblemsgaming.com/geekcrate, and you'll actually get 15% off your order and help support our channel at the same time. So if you want to take advantage of that cool discount, be sure to head there as well. And if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.